Hello and welcome to the third episode of this series. In the previous two parts, we have learned how to make a canvas, the basic structure of the canvas, how to attach the canvas paper to the canvas board, how to apply the primer or the gesso over that canvas. In this particular part, we learn how to make a painting after the canvas has all dried up. And the next thing you'll need, or the next materials you'll need, is a flat brush, a round brush, a detailed brush, some acrylic paints, a water cup, an easel, something like this, and a palette. Now that we have collected all our items, it's time to paint. Alright, let's start painting now. The first thing you will need is a marker, or but the first thing we have to keep in mind is to make an horizon to understand the overall layer of the painting on how or where we are going to paint and to have a basic structure of that painting. Uh, so usually I use a very detailed brush or a brush, a black color with it to have the horizon. But right now I'm using a marker to have. It's a very light marker. It's gonna soak light in. So let's say this is the horizon. This is the horizon that we have in hand, and we'll start painting now. Uh, the first thing you'll need is a lighter shade of color, a yellow color, and this is newly store bought, and we'll lay the lighter shade over here. Lighter shade should you have to make sure that the yellow color is well spreaded on the canvas without having any sort of disturbance, or and make sure you cover all canvas. So what I have in mind is that the below the part of the horizon, below the horizon, everything should be green, and everything there should be a grass field, and above it you can add your components according to yourself. So right now I'm adding a grass field down here, and I want shades of green. I want sap green, some true green, and I want shades of white and shades of black. So the overall shades of green I want. And on the above the horizon I want a good blue sky with some one or two houses, maybe a building or a monument. And just add the more component you add, and I'll make sure that I'll add a moon. I don't want to add for say a sun. I don't want brighter shade for this. I'm not expecting a brighter painting. I'm expecting a lighter painting. But for this, we have to make sure we have particularly blend all the colors. So right now, I have used yellow at the bottom part of the painting to have a good shade with green. It should really melt or really blend with the green. And the above the horizon, I'm gonna use blue. So I have some blue in my hand, and I'm gonna dilute it with some white paint, and we will use different shades of blue. And I'll make sure the top part of that is really dark and really a darker shade of blue, and that below that would be a very lighter shade. And right here, somewhere right here or right here, I'll add a house of some sort. But I for myself don't use very detailed structure when it comes to painting. I make sure to have a very lighter, very blunt approach. I don't have a detailed approach per se. Sometimes I'll paint something and midway I'll change what I'm trying to paint. But for now, I think I have something very a very clear idea in my mind. So we'll pick a green. Right now we have picked sap green. This is a lighter shade of green. I'll use a flat brush because I need to and fro on this canvas. And this could be my structure right here. And this is one of my structures right here. This is one of my structures. I want the flow of the grass field to be something like this. There we go. You can see how the whole yellow green thing is working out. It's giving a really good blend because it's partially dry, so it's really mixing up with the whole acrylic colors. And we'll continue to make such patterns. Usually I don't use long strokes, but in this particular painting I'm going to use very long strokes because I want it to be very blunt and very mixed painting. I don't want it to have some structure. It should be very a latent approach when it comes to painting. And there we go. This is a lighter shade of sap. We'll paint over the horizon because we don't want that horizon to be there. And don't worry, right now I've covered up with a very sap green, but after this I'll add some darker components of green. So the green that is available in the market is that you can use is light green, is light green, but you can add some black or mix a green and black mixture and you can apply it on the canvas to have a really good look. We'll dip this brush and we'll use a rough cloth. Again, we want to mix both the greens, so we'll want to be there. It is there. You go. And this is a lighter shade of green, somewhat. This green right here is we have what we'll do is this is just the basic part or the background of the painting we are right now portraying. Over this, we'll have some work to do with white and black and different shades of green. But right now, I'm using this shade. This is first of all, I use a very lighter shade at the start. Then I go up the arc and I start to use very darker shades. This is a very lighter shade. There you go. We're gonna blend yes all the shades that we have in our hand to this green as a lighter shade. There you go. And there it is. We'll use the same pattern and we'll use the same we will not use any we will not go against we will not create a pattern now because all the patterns that I've created are with the help of this sap green right here, and we'll continue to make those patterns only. We will not add any patterns to it, we'll not add any strokes to it. It's just continuing to paint on those patterns. And we'll add right now I'm thinking about adding some darker components over here and here, but and here and here, but that's a thing for afterwards. Right now I'm going to clean this brush well and thorough, and we're going to use some black to make sure colors are rightly blended. This is black we have, and it's a very lighter shade, and we'll blend the green, sap green with it. We'll have a very darker shade of sap green that we'll need, and this right here is the darker shade of green, and we're going to use this shade at the bottom also, and then this bottom right here. Now this the darker structure will provide the darker colors will provide the darker structure or the overall structure of the painting, but the lighter will assist them in providing those features. There you go. These are the darker shades, and I've mixed it with some blank. And as I continue painting, I'll start to add more and more blank, more and more black, so that it gives really good touch. And add some water. Make sure it's really diluted. Yeah, there you go. Again, I'm using a flat brush because I want flat strokes. And now this darker shade will help me give a structure to the whole thing like this. And I'll give right here. This is this you can see how this darker shade is providing structure to the whole. You don't need a black or white. We'll need some white and black at the end to give you some sort of an extra touch with very minute detail. We'll do the detailing with this brush right here. But right now I'm doing the part where I'll paint, and I'll take help of the shades and different sorts of shade to give a structure to this painting. You can see how I am using, again, some colors are not dried, and I'm using this darker shade over the lighter shade to give it some structure. The lighter shade is going to be right there. It's not going to vanish. It's going to be right there. And maybe the lighter shade, we'll use some lighter shade and we'll use some darker shade of that, and we'll use some water. We'll blend them and then we'll paint them together like this. Yes, something like this. So now we have, what we are doing is we're using a lighter shade, a diluted version with water. We'll use and we'll make very short strokes. You can also do this with the help of a round brush. So let's say this is a round brush, and we'll use add some, already has some yellow in it. So we are doing a lighter diluted shade of the darker shade. So if it's sap green, the sap green will be sap green, but it would be mixed with some water, so it will give a lighter shade for the darker shade. There you go. And just like that, we are done with the below the horizon part of the painting. Add some lighter shades here. There you go. As you can see, first of all I painted some yellow, then I painted some a lighter green, then a sap green, then a darker shade of sap green, then a blend of a diluted blend of sap green, light green, and black. After which I diluted the sap green, and something like this I have got here, and we'll detail it with the help of the minute brush. And right now, please keep in mind that never forget the lines. These are the lines that are going through this and this and this and this. These are the lines. This is how the grass will look. So later on, when the paint is all dried up, we'll use some black and we'll use some white to give it the structure. But right now we're going to paint the over the horizon part of the painting. We'll need blue, some shades of blue. And what we'll do is we'll wash these two brushes, and we'll pick two new brushes, in this case again a flat brush and a round brush. This right here is a round brush, and we'll now paint shades of blue, white, and red. So the colors that we have in hand is blue, white, and red. This is blue. We'll paint a darker shade of blue, but we'll add some white to it. This is white. We'll mix this white with blue over the top. Very lighter, very lighter shade of blue with the white. Make sure we have very good blend at the top. And there you go. We'll add some more blue, and think we'll add some more blue to this. Now we have a perfect grade of blue. Right. This is the blue that I want for over the horizon. The top part of the horizon. This is what we'll do is we'll keep adding some white in it, so that we have a lighter shade of the blue. So this right here, some white. Add some white in it, a lighter shade of blue. This is the lighter shade of blue right here. You can see this is far more lighter. And if this doesn't feel light, we'll add some more darker shade of blue on the top to compensate for the gradient. Okay. This is the lighter shade of blue. Occasionally we can use some water to make sure that the light blue is really light and it's not on the darker side of blue. Again, if you run out of color, you can just use some water. And over here, instead of using some white, we'll use a very I have to use some white over here, but I will use something. I'll do shorter strokes, and yes, and I'll do strokes by a round brush. Now this is a shorter flat brush. There you go. There you go. Later on, we'll add a moon somewhere over here because this place will be really empty. There would be a component of an house over here, some sort of an tree or an another component that we can add here. Uh, yes, and we'll add now. We'll add the darker shade of blue. Yeah. Okay. So we'll add a darker shade of blue right here because I feel like this is a very lighter shade here, and we'll add a darker shade of blue on the top to make sure uh, it looks good. And we can add, you can do something like this, and you can do something like this also. You can apply some paint, then you can spread it very nicely. You can also use some patterns like this if you want. Okay, so right now the darker shade of blue right here is we're gonna use some. We're gonna use something like this. Then we're gonna use some white on it afterwards. But right now we'll do this. So when you add more white in the upper part, it look a very good contrast. But won't do it right now. We'll add some. I need a flat brush and some water to do this. I'll do something like this. I'm not trying to make a very detailed part, very detailed painting, but a very blunt approach to the whole thing. And this, by this, you can really blend those colors in the canvas. You don't have a particular, let's say, a darker shade of blue or lighter shade of blue. It's all blended. But we'll add some more darker shade on the top once it has been dried. Yes, there you go. And let's just complete the horizon first, and afterwards we'll try to make a house on the middle. I'm also thinking to make a curve horizon rather than a flat one, something like this. So these greens will go up. So for that we'll need the brushes that we used right here, and we use some green to do this. And don't worry, right now it may look, but I'll try to uh, like this. Now that I have, because this looks more real. Uh, by doing this, I'm making it look more real. Something like this uh, may look, or an horizon like this can be seen in nature, a curved horizon, but a straight horizon is very difficult to approach. And we'll use a curve also. Also, we'll use some curve over here, a bump, kind of a bump. Yes. There you go. Now this looks more real. We'll try to detail it afterwards. Right now it's well and fine. Let it dry. We need to add some darker colors, but right now it's this part is really wet, so we don't want to interfere with the whole thing. And we'll add some darker shades later on, the darker shades of green and everything that we have used right here. But right now we'll leave this be, and we'll use some more blue on the top. We'll give it some structure. We'll give the sky some structure. As you can see, this is half dried, so now the structure thing will, you could really see the thing. And let's work right now on the bottom part of the painting. We'll mix white with some blue. There you go. We'll try to blend this as much as we can, but afterwards we'll have some uh, black and white paint to give it a really good structure. Right now we are trying to blending it with the latter part of the horizon. Okay, there you go. Now we'll do some more darker shades of blue right here, something like this, like this. So the darker shade of blue is right now helping us to give it a really good structure. The structure of the sky is really, and we'll use different type of brushes or patterns. Some straight or some we'll use that are not that. Let's say this is a very blunt approach. We'll try to dap it up so that the darker shade is really hidden in the back. Not it's not bright or it's not really conceivable. And we'll try to use a flat brush to we'll not directly use a round brush. We'll use some flat brush so it's really blended with the whole thing. Now we're going to use some darker shade. It's just you have to repeat the whole process again and again, and you have to see for yourself that which uh, which part of this painting looks really good, which stroke of that brush looks really good, something that I have overdid or underdid. Then you can manage it later on. That's the thing with painting, that you can always make with acrylic painting, that you can always make a change once the paint has dried. And there you go. We have a perfect sky right here, something that I really needed. And now we'll use some white. Now first of all we'll complete the work with below the horizon right here, and we'll try to use some darker shades. There you go. And it's done like this. Now that the blue has dried, we'll use some darker shades of green. What we'll do is we won't use something that I have in mind is that we won't use a darker shade of gray, darker shade of green. Instead, we'll use that sap green. We'll use some white in it, so that you will have a very leafy green texture, something like this. A very lighter shade of sap green, which will again help us to give it a new shade. The more shades that you explore with the green, the more real it's going to look. Okay, so we're gonna mix some more sap green right here. Later on, we're gonna use some more yellow and some more light green, and maybe some more mixture of black and sap green. And this is a lighter shade of green. Use here. Again, we're using a flat brush instead of a round brush to for it to have a very detailed structure again. What we're going to do is we have to make sure that this is really dried up. Then after that we'll use a darker shade of sap green, and we'll give it structures with the help of some yellow. But we'll focus right now to make a moon over here with the help of a new brush, and we'll use some white. This is going to be our moon. shouldn't look perfect as in round. It can be imperfect. So if you're painting right now moon on this blue, it will look lighter at first, but once it has dried, you'll add some more white color on top, and you'll repeat this process until it's completely white. It looks really white. Then you'll add some black spots on it to so that so make sure it really looks like a moon. And okay, that's it. That's done, and it has not really dried up. We'll add some darker shades again, and we'll add some black with the green, with the sap green, so it will give a darker shade for sap green. Right here. Now this will somewhat mimic what we have done over here. And if you, even if it doesn't mimic what we have done over there, it's still an great add-on. It will look something similar, something new. Okay. And by adding those shades right here, we'll have a similar look to the whole painting. We'll add some black and we'll add some white later on, but for now this is more than enough. Now over the horizon we'll add some more red. We'll make sure that the red is mixed with some white, so uh, we don't have that very bright look for that red. This is our red right here, and we'll mix that red with some white. This brush already had some white in it, but we'll make sure we'll mix some white, some more white in it, the later part of the brush. There you go. Now we'll use very gentle strokes over here. At the top, we'll use some very gentle strokes, very small and minute stroke. And as I'm circulating my brush to and fro. I'm also to and fro, and I'm also rotating it somewhat like this. So I have a wavy, somewhat like this. Doesn't have to look that much real, and we'll use some long and at the same time some very short strokes so that it really signifies the whole thing. Okay, so we have some red over here, and we'll make sure to refrain that red shade to upper part of the painting only. Will not continue or have very lower shades as we go down the painting. So we'll make the shades first only, some really one or two shades we'll do right here, and there you go. We'll have some, because we have planned a house of some sort or a monument of some sort in the center. I'm not using that house in the this side or that side because I really want it to be in the center. I'm using a very blatant, a very blunt approach, a very plain approach. I'm not using more components. The first component that we use is a grassland, then a sky, some a moon, some red texture, and a house. A very simple and very broad structured painting today we'll make. After this, we'll add a house, but first of all, we'll make sure that the our this is really a moon is really dark. It really looks white. It doesn't look any other shade. Once the white is all dried up again, we'll use some texture of black to cover up the to mimic what really the moon looks like. It has some dark spots, some black spots. Uh, we'll also encircle the moon with some white like this. Make it give it a, but this is something we'll also do later on with some white and black with some detail brush. This is a very bigger number of brush. We'll not use this for detailing. We'll use a very smaller brush later on. But right now, for what I have is a white color in this brush, so we'll make the house right now with the help of white brush. This is a very simple procedure. Just make uh, two straight lines and then two slant lines over the top like a rooftop, and don't have to paint much. There you go. To give it a structure, we'll always use some white paint, uh, but we're using this. We can later on add some textures of brown or blue on the yellow or the brown on top right here to give this some sort of a rooftop appearance. We'll add some brown later on. Right now I'm using some yellow, because if I paint brown on a blue base of that canvas, we don't have the brown will not show its color or show its capability. Then it will show more than the yellow background. We'll also paint this yellow, so that when we paint any other color on it, it will really show it. We'll also add some red, and we'll add some brown later on. Yeah. This is some texture of yellow and then some texture of red right here. Will the the doors would be pitch black, so that you would really know, okay, it's a door. Afterwards we can also add some brown and also add some other colors, but we'll add some black right now to the this part. Okay, so this is some black. We'll add some black to the door, and we'll make the horizon right now. So for this horizon, this is has to be very detailed, or you can use a very darker brush with will leave some space in between. Again, so we have used this darker black for the, but later on with the detail brush we'll give more detailing, and we'll add some more white in the door, and we will use some shade of black here to detail this thing, and we'll use some sort of this. Afterwards we'll also use some brown, and I think you should use some brown right now, because the yellow is half dried and it is starting to look it looks like it has blended well with the blue, but we'll use some sort of brown right here, and this looks perfect. All right, so we'll use some brown here also. Yeah. As I'm painting, I'm trying to hide as much as this white I can hide, but later on we'll cover this up something like this, and we'll make something like this. We'll elongate the shade part. We'll add some more yellow here, and afterwards we'll do some detailing on that part. But for right now, we'll paint the moon with some sort of an red texture, red hint. So we'll also add some more red here, and we'll add some white, like here. Some mixtures of red and white, so it looks well and good. I'm using later part of the brush because I have some white left here. And we can stretch this. It's a mixture of different shades of red and some different shades of white. So it doesn't look like it's only red and blue. It has some texture of white. We'll add some white later on in the detailing part of the. So I think we're done with this. And light now we'll detail the whole thing with the help of some. We'll only use white and black. So and we'll use detailing brush. We won't use any of these brushes. We only use white and black. So we have started with detailing. First thing we'll use is detail brush, and a very small number, a 0 or 1 number, and we'll slowly and steadily start with this part. So this right here have a this grass field has this wave right here. So everything will flow right here, and then they will go up, and they will just have a curve right like this right here. The detailing part of the video will take more and more time than the whole thing. So I'm gonna time lapse the whole thing, and I'm gonna detail the whole thing in a form of a time lapse. So midway through the process, I thought that yellow will also suit as a detailing, because it will really blend with blue and green at the same time, and it can blend with mostly any colors. So this is the end of the video. This is what I have painted, and I think it turned out to be pretty well. And you can paint this also if you just follow the all the steps that I have stated in the previous videos, part 1, part 2, and part 3. And this is the final product, or this is the final painting that you can see right here. And you can also paint this if you just follow the simple procedure that I have laid down over the 3-part series. This is the final part, and this is the final product of that I have painted. Thank you for watching this third part, and if you have any doubts or any sort of, please reach out. I have mentioned my socials in the description, and keep watching and keep painting. If you really like this video or any further parts, you can like and subscribe. You can comment on it. You can share it among your friends who want to paint. And thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.